like it.
Yeah, man. All right, Drew. So, a lot of people know us for our travel, photo, and video. We go to some cool destinations. We shoot awesome properties and locations. But they don't know the behind the scenes of how that comes about, right? One of the things that come up as a question for me a lot is how we handle pre-production, right? And since you are the mood board and pre-production master,
Pre-production. That's like my thing, like mood boards and budgets, like I get excited about.
yeah, just talk me through your process, and then we can talk about my process or whatnot. But I'm really interested in understanding your process because you're like the guru at pre-production.
Oh, thanks. Number one fan club member here.
And nobody else loves you, I will.
Yeah, exactly. Stick together, buddy. So for me, right, and everyone knows, like you talk to your client, you get the idea and the picture of what they're looking for, and then it's off to the races, right? So how do you convert what they're talking about into something visually that relates to you, resonates with you, and you can deliver on for that client, right? And so for me, right off the bat is let's get some mood boards in and let's start pre-vising what this idea can look like, because a lot of the time the idea comes and develops throughout that process. Like very rarely do you really have a standout idea of like, this is how it's going to go. You may have some standout like shot ideas or music you want to use, but seeing how everything comes together is another thing, right? So with our clients, specifically in the realm of like destination travel and luxury hotel, you're kind of showcasing a lot of things. It's never just one thing, right? So right off the bat, like everyone has their different resources in sculpting a mood board, right? Whether it's Pinterest, whether it's looking at other people's work, inspiration can come from anywhere.
It's tons of different sources, yeah.
Exactly, and whatever speaks to you, really. So right off the bat, if I can, I like to find the music that I'm going to be using, right?
Okay, so music first.
Music first for me, if I can. Now, some of the brands we use have a set library that you're allowed to sort of, cherry pick from and use, or you have to use, I should say. So that narrows the focus down a little bit. If you've got a little bit more free range, then you can get a little bit more experimental, and you can almost give them a couple options, get them to sign off on it first, because you don't want to be editing to something crazy.
From video people changing the music after the edit's done. That's a whole nother topic, right?
Yeah, we already give it.
That's podcast 2.
3, 4, 5.
Changing the music after the edit's done.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna skip over that one.
Okay.
But the reason why I like the music, because it sets the tone, it sets the cadence, it sets moments in that video that will either bring you up, bring you down, move you in some way. And then from there, you've got your backbone, right? So you can essentially then start looking at the imagery, whether it's shot ideas or color tones or patterns, or playing with a style. Like if you want to play with like shadows and light instead of like textures or something like that, right?
And for that process, how much of the client's input is in this pre-vis / mood board? Like at what point are you using references from the client?
So you want to make sure that you're referencing their brand guidelines. And some clients will have extensive brand guidelines, some will have very little to none, right?
Yeah.
And it's quite nice if you can help them to develop that a little bit, because then you get to infuse a little bit more of your style or something new that you want to try that works. So you definitely got to listen to the client, but at the same time, you also got to make it your project, right? So it's marrying the two together in order to do that. So I would say, yeah, obviously look at the brand style, because that's what's going to get you rehired. If you shoot something that's completely out of that,
Count yourself out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So stick to that. And then there's ways to sort of push it in different directions. And if you're unsure about it and the client is really opposed to not doing something, if there's an opportunity to still get it while you're out there and try it in the edit, that might be something fun and unexpected that they didn't realize. But you got to make sure that you're shooting for your client, otherwise.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so know your client, know their brand, understand what parameters you have, and also infuse your own style into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you want to be known, you know, like you always say, is a bit of a brand. So we come to you because you've got the way you look at styling. This is your style, and then it stands out. You know, it's different from the generic travel video or whatever. You know, and it could be something slight. So yeah, always go for that. But that's just the tip of the iceberg is the music, right? Because now we've got to get into everything. And when you're referencing these videos, you know, what I'll do is I'll do a pre-vis where I'll take lots of inspiration from other people's videos, but I'm never copying the exact shot, so to speak. It's what that shot says to me, you know, how it moves me or what it emotes and where I place it in the timeline.
How it makes you feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're almost stealing structure instead of a shot. You see what I mean? And so then that way you can see how all those different emotions play out over the course of a 60-second video and see where things can be tweaked to get that overall response or result that the client is looking for and that you feel, you know, represents the destination and above all, makes it stand out from the rest of them. Because we do a lot of hotels, we're not making the same video for every hotel or every destination. You want to make sure that that's specific where, for example, if you take out the iconic monuments in the video, like say it's, I don't know, Aruba with a lighthouse. If you take out those iconic lighthouses or shots that, okay, yes, we know that's Aruba.
Becomes generic.
It becomes generic. So you want to make sure those in-between shots still says something to the destination, you know, and it could be texture, it could be cultural elements.
Yeah, and every destination by nature is different. Specifically in the Caribbean, a lot of times people like to lump them all together. It's like, oh, they all got beaches, or they got blue water. You know, they might have pretty buildings or whatnot. But what are those unique identifying parts about that destination, whether it be the people, whether it be the architecture, whether it be landmarks, whether or not be art, that really stand out. So it's making sure that you put those items into the film in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly, but also avoiding like cliches, right? So whether it's like the palm tree, the wide aerial shot, you know, this you see all the time, like how can you infuse something different, whether it's merging different styles and incorporating that into a travel video. You know, like a lot of, you know, popular directors will take a Western type story, but set it in space. So you've got that sort of right away, it's different.
It's like a juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at different videos, whether it's perfume commercials, whether it's fashion brands, whether it's car commercials, you know, they're not destination travel or luxury hotel things, but I can pull from that and get inspiration from that, hey, this would actually be cool to adapt this in this realm, so to speak.
Yeah, because one of the things I really love about your work, and this is, you know,
Pop up, Drew.
fire him up, is when you utilize shadow play, you know? And, you know, like you're utilizing either the natural sun movement or you bring in artificial light to be able to create like movement through shadow within a space, you know, and it really highlights the textures and those things, those subtleties inside of a place that a lot of people don't pay attention to. And how do you go about in your pre-vis with all the things that you're adding into there with the music, of the styles, and pulling inspiration from other films or whatnot? How do you also add in like textural elements and unique things that to me are identifiable to Drew's style, you know?
I mean, that's a good question. You've always got the desired type of shot that you want to do. Whether it works in a destination that you probably haven't been to is another thing. So obviously you can, you know, see what's already out there online in terms of like their existing hotel content for specific locations that could lend themselves, like, oh, here's some nice mosaic tiles, or here's, you know, a textured wall that would be really good. But then it's using some of like the popular filmmaker apps for sun angles and stuff to see if that is even possible. Like, does light even come over to that side naturally, right?
Sunmap.app.
There you go.
Yeah. I think it's my favorite website.
Yeah. No, that's a good
before
one.
I travel anywhere, sunmap.app. Check to see where the shadows are going to be.
Yeah.
And you can do it for pretty much any location in the world.
No, exactly. And if And some locations, no matter what time of day, you're just not going to get it. So other tricks would be to shoot it at night and then bring your own, source light.
But sometimes you want to get a shot that is like exact to what you wanted in your mood board. And I remember when we were in Barbados shooting at Colony Club, you had this you had this whole setup inside my room. And you just said it to me on WhatsApp. I never physically saw it. Give me a run through it. So why did you shoot it there? What were you shooting? Give me a rundown of it.
Well, exactly that. You've got your schedule, and there was specific lighting I wanted for like a nice little insert of like this water drop running down this leaf, right? And all I had was like harsh midday light. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to grab everything, put it in my room, which was full of AC. So I was like, oh, I'm comfortable, And I was able to control the light, which was why I decided to do it that way.
Okay, so knowing time of day, knowing how to be able to set things up during a time of day that works best for the shoot schedule.
Correct.
Right? And working around it.
And luckily I had a bit of extra time to be able to do that, and I wasn't putting in all that effort to light something like that, that would jeopardize other shots. So.
Yeah, because I think you were doing it at lunchtime.
Yeah. I just ate the water droplets.
Also, another crazy one that I remember right off the bat was when we were in St. Lucia. And anybody that knows you and knows me, you are the water guy. I am the water, the land lover.
You love land, for sure.
I love land.
Yeah.
And you had the model, I think Bailey McCracken.
Yeah.
And she was on a little small catamaran, and you.
Yeah.
Then she walk me through what you were thinking and how that came about, and why you would put something like that on your Pre-vis.
It was just one of those shots that just stood out to me. This was more of a social media type shoot shot. So it was one shot to just really capture you in one image opposed to like a whole edit. And I just like the style of the camera being fixed to the boat, so to speak, and us sort of moving with just the flow and the sound of the water running under the boat, which stood out to me. But of course you get onto the boat and suddenly the sun goes away and the wind drops out and the boat starts drifting. And luckily James Dowdy, who's with us, he's, this boat captain extraordinaire, so he was able to maneuver this. But still, a shot that should take 5 minutes takes like, an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, I know. Me and Leo were on the boat. Leo from Persephone.
Yeah.
And we were just watching like, wow, that is like commitment.
Yeah. I just got it turned out all right. Yeah, but that's all part of it. You get these cool adventure stories, and sometimes you put in that effort to get that shot, and a client respects that a little bit.
And they see the hard work that you're willing to put in to be able to get the shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a testament in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. So yeah, shout out to Colony Club and Sugar Beach.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going through getting your Pre-vis pulled together, getting your music pulled together, concepting, and using references, not to steal someone's shots, but to create an emotion.
Yeah, emotion and structure to make sure all plays together, right? And then bringing that with you, so when you're on location, you can adapt to the different types of shots, because you've got the music, pacing. So how long am I going to hold on this shot? Am I going to whip into another shot because this is the crescendo point that I want to have this happening? Someone jumping off of a waterfall or something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I love it. And then, okay, so I mean, that's before you've even planned flights or anything like that. We're still in this pre-production stage.
I'm still in like excited mode.
Yeah, I mean, because this topic can go so deep, right? Because travel photography and travel video entails the whole gamut from beginning through to actually delivering the files to the client. All right, so you've got your Pre-vis now. You've got your pacing. You've got this this beautiful looking shot list and mood board. What's next for Drew?
Don't show it to the client. Not just joking.
To show or not to show? I guess that's the question.
That
right?
is the question.
Do you show them the Pre-vis, or do you not show them the Pre-vis? Like, what is the value of someone prejudging something that is not finished versus them having the ability to be able to see through the shots in the same way that you can, to that final edit that you got in your mind. So do you show it to them or do you not show it to them?
Well, that's the uncertainty, is can the client see through the
And not all can.
board? Exactly.
Some can.
So I don't actually. I have a good understanding of what the client wants, and I'll throw out some suggestions of what I'm thinking to do. Maybe I'll send them a couple snippets or still frames of the imagery. So if they see, okay, this is the composition, this is the wardrobe that I'm looking for this sort of thing, and if they sign off on that, then I know I'm in a good spot because the movements and everything will tie all together. Again, in post-production, you can always rearrange stuff, and I'll shoot something that I think will look amazing, and then I'll also have extra secondary shots that I'll get that are almost safe shots that I could throw in. So if it gets too far over the top or over the line, I can dial it back or rework it.
Yeah.
But just having that gives me the confidence when I go down there where, I know exactly what I need to get. I know that there's A shots and then there's B shots, and I'm not sort of overwhelmed with a beautiful place, right? Because
it could be easy to get into a place and want to shoot everything. Right? Where photography and video is about limitations. It's about finding the right shots in the right to the right time. To be able to pull together something that's impactful, but within the time frame that you set out to do it, because most times there's no going back.
No, exactly. getting time back, right? And it's so easy to just have all this eye candy around you, and you just get pulled in these different directions. And then naturally you do a little bit, and that's great for experimenting with some different shots. But as long as you're getting that go-to shot that you've got in your mood board, then that's fine, right?
Okay. So all right, we got the Pre-vis, we got the mood board, shot list. How do you approach shot lists?
Shot list, I would say, depends on my mood board. And the shot list will be, how many days do we have, and how many sunrises and sunsets does that equate to? Because we all know that that's like great lighting times. So what can I get in those periods, and what are the most valuable shots in that period? So if there is the hero shot of a girl standing on a rock, well, what time of day does that rock look best? Is it better at sunrise or sunset? So I basically have these anchor points within the shoot schedule of like the must-haves at the right time, right? So when we were in Aruba, we had our talent in the lovely dress, on
the dunes,
on the dunes or whatever, and that was a morning shot, right? And so that took up one, and I think we were only shooting for 2 days, so that was one morning taken up, and then I wanted to make sure that we're on property for another morning, because for that specific one, it was all about the property and not the destination. So you don't want to use up the nice time on B shots in the grand scheme of things, even though the environment is quite nice.
And that shot, relatively speaking, was a bit experimental to the actual project, right?
Yeah.
So, and it ended up being like the most impactful shot for the project.
No, exactly.
So you got your shot list, which is based off of your mood board. A lot of times the clients want to have multiple sunrise or sunset shots, but you don't have that latitude within the amount of days or time frame that you got. So you're selective down to the shots and where they can happen most effectively with the light that you have.
Correct.
All right, awesome. So we got the shot list, we got the mood board, we got the Pre-vis.
Socks are packed, still adding stuff to the suitcase. What else do we need? I think you've got to think about some of the pitfalls that you might run into, or things that you might have to work around. Again, back in our realm, which is the destination travel and luxury hotels, is you're going to be shooting on a property where there's going to be other patrons that you can't do anything about.
100%. And it's important for us to be cognizant that people that are on that property have paid significant amount of money, or a significant amount of money to be on that property, and they have the right to all spaces on that property, and we're kind of secondary to the guests.
As much as we want to be like the hero,
we're still shut it down. We're taking the pool all day. We're taking the beach all day. We're gonna log up
Margaritas, please.
We're gonna log off this location. Practically speaking, you can't. So you have to operate within time frames that work along with the client's client movements, and being minimal in terms of disturbance.
Exactly. So you may have a hero shot of like the hero talent walking through the lobby at like 11 a.m., right? Perfect light coming through. But no, that's when everyone is checking out. So that lobby is going to be swarmed. So you're trading off shots. Or, for example, you know, cuisine is another big one. You know, let's get some food shots. But there's a specific time where the chef's going to be in full service, so you can't shoot over that time.
Yeah. The challenge of food is a lot of times the time to shoot food is the off times, and those are the best times to shoot outside.
Yeah.
You know, so you got this kind of juxtaposition between getting the right light outside, but also practically getting the shots that you need inside the restaurants. And restaurants, they don't want you in there at 12 o'clock. Well, 12 o'clock is the best time to shoot inside. You know, you don't want to be shooting outside at high noon, you know? So they want you to shoot early, you know, during the time that you should be shooting outside. So it's a matter of balance in that also.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, it would be you are coordinating with the operations team or the marketing team to be able to ensure that you got the right locations at the right time that makes sense relative to the shots that you're aiming to get.
Correct. And you're never going to get everything you want, you know, it's
a trade-off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you get enough of those anchor point shots, then everything else will
Works its way out.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's not as, I mean, like if every shot was perfect, that's great. But for the viewers, a lot of time, as long as you can match that emotion across your different shots, then it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like if it was shot at the perfect time or not. You can match that emotion, you can match that that feeling that you're talking about in your pre-visualization, you know?
And to go along with like the things to watch out for is, you know, it's almost like destination friction, stuff that will happen that you're gonna have to work around. So whether it's people in the lobby, people on the beach, it could be wind like in Aruba, right? So how do you change that to maybe it works in your advantage? So with that high winds in Aruba, it's like, well, okay, well, let's incorporate that and, you know, let's have the talent in a nice flowy dress and let that wind pick that dress up and almost accent it.
It accents the natural environment.
Exactly. So what was originally going to be like, this is going to be hell, the hair is going to get crazy. Okay, let's tie hair back. Let's put her in a nice flowy dress. But that's all part of the looking into the destination to see what it's all about, right? Because if we didn't know that it was windy ahead of time, we could have told the hair and makeup to just nice hair down and then roll over.
And it would never work.
So it's key to do your research in that respect, right? So
okay, so to wrap it all up and to cap it all, if you had to give somebody advice on like the 5 top things that they should be doing in advance of a travel destination shoot, you've covered a couple different items, but 5 top things that they should be doing.
I say 1, know the client, you know, what they're looking for, because that will just dictate everything else. So that's the tip of the pyramid. 2, if you can pick your music, that's a key one, because that will give you your pacing, the vibe, the feeling. You can play that over and over when you're on location in situations. 3, like I like to get as many of the shots in that timeline from other videos as possible, so you have a semi-complete viz, right? 3, make sure you've got...
And that's 4.
Oh, sorry. Is it? Yeah. I'm gonna keep bang. What should we call it? Castanudi. 4, a great schedule that is achievable, right? No sense throwing everything in and you're rushed for every shot, and so those pillar shots don't look as good as they can. So making sure you've got that, and communicate with your client. If you can't get everything in, be upfront and be like, look, this is what we can get and this is where we can't. Exactly. And then it's on them to say, hey, do we add another day? Or if they're fine to cut something, and then working within that timeline. And then 5, which we haven't talked about, is communicating with your team and who's going to be on set, because you and I usually shoot together and your medium is photography and I'm video, right? So how does that work in the time period that we've got? Are we shooting with the same light? Do you need to put in some light? And I know when Nhuri and I work together, we try and use the same situation, but we will confer on our food boards to make sure that we're aligned. And if there's anything that you may have that's slightly different that you want to try, then let's incorporate that. And we're borrowing ideas, we're collaborating. And
Yeah, we're Brent House Productions.
yeah.
I love it. All right, so that was wicked. I think our next conversation should probably be about working with international teams where people are coming from different locations. When you're actually on the ground now and you're working with the hair and makeup, you're working with the stylist, you're working with the local production assistants, you're working with international or local models, and you have to be able to handle the client in a place that's not your home.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Boom, 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 boom. Go, Phil.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was good.